Well, Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to Spotlight. I believe this is our first one for 2023. Yes, it is. We've got a lot to talk about, and we're going to start right after this opening.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to put a hand of protection.
Well, we're back, folks, and I'm going to welcome my co-host today and delighted to introduce the new president of the Georgetown NAACP branch number 5520, President Deontay Winchester. Good morning. Happy New Year, Deontay.
Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to everyone watching. We appreciate the viewership.
That's right. Good to have you. And once again, congratulations on becoming our president. Looking forward to working with you, Deontay. Continuing to work with you. All right. And next we have our new first vice president, starting in 2023, Miss Ebony Hughes. Good morning, Ebony. How are you?
I am doing great. Happy to start this new year off. I am happy to work with everybody here, and congratulations, Deontay.
Congratulations to you, my sister.
All right. We just want to quickly say Marvin is still here. He's now on a regional and state basis, so he's still involved. No one, how rumors can start in local rural areas. Now, we all still out here working. We just promoting a whole bunch of people because it's well deserved. All right. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it, folks. First, Happy New Year. It's a year of continuing civil and social justice work and also working within our community in Georgetown and beyond. So we've got a lot going on. And let's go ahead and get started. Deontay, I think, what was the first thing on our list?
I think we wanted to start with this foolishness that's going on in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, let's start there because, yeah.
Straight
my goodness.
Yeah, I think it took 15 tries, 15, and late last night he was finally elected Speaker of the House, and that's debatable because he's made a lot of compromises. So your thoughts, Ebony and Deontay. Ebony?
Well, they said it was concessions, but really that means the people really didn't want you. You basically had to sell your soul to do it. And it is crazy. But in all of that, what overshadowed the whole thing was while they were trying to decide who was going to be a speaker, a Black woman was actually filling that role, which was the first time that a Black woman has ever filled that role just for a short period of time. But it still officially made her the speaker for that period of time. So that's something to talk about it as well. But at the end of the day, it was foolishness.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let's make it clear that we're nonpartisan here at the NAACP. But we have to talk about what's presented to us. You have one party, which is the Republican Party, that for whatever reason just can't get right. Okay? You have an individual that everyone assumed would be elected easily and handily, basically being repudiated by members of his own party. So if they can't agree internally, how are they going to agree to lead us on serious issues in this country?
Exactly.
And I think that's what people are missing. Now, on the flip side of that, again, we're not endorsing any one party. You have the Democratic Party. Now, not only did they easily elect who they wanted to be their leader, it was announced by the former leader there in the Democratic Party in the House. And she did it with a smile on her face. That's called leadership. Why can't we see that across the aisle? Why does there have to be a fight with everything that comes along with that party?
You know why? because they're divided. First of all, the Republican Party is actually not operating like a party should be operating in terms of the structure and everything. You really have Trumpsters that's almost kind of acting as their own party. And then you have the traditional Republicans who are trying to operate things. So basically that's what's going on within their party is basically turmoil. And at this point, they're very unstable, which is why at this point, strategically, if you're voting for anyone, it'd be very hard to vote for Republicans in at this point in time, because why would you support an operation? Because it is an operation. Parties are operations. They are businesses in the sense. So if they're not operating, just like stocks, would you input your money in stocks in something that's not operating correctly? I mean, at the end of the day, somebody, I don't know who, really needs to step in that party and bring things to a halt until they can bring back order within that party.
That takes a moral backbone, and that's not what they're about. There's a small faction in the Republican Party that doesn't want governance. They want chaos. And that's why they were elected. Their supporters, which is the base of the Republican Party, they want chaos. And when they get elected and put in positions, that they're doing what their constituents want them to do. Then you have the rest of the party who've sold their souls to this faction because of one man wielding power, and also that this is a legacy that started with Ronald Reagan and Newt Gingrich. So we're not seeing, people keep kind of emphasizing Trump, that he brought this. No, he didn't. Trump was just a manifestation in one body that could rally the folks around racism, bigotry, xenophobia, and all of that, and just tell them it's okay for you to show your anger. It's okay to be public about it. It's okay to elect people who think the way I think. And this is the result of that. You are correct, Ebony. They're not operating as a party at all. They're operating as an authoritarian force that wants fascism. They want freedom to suppress and oppress other people. They don't want freedom. They want freedom to oppress others. And that's the way they're operating. And that's what the discussion we have to have, and we will in future, because we've got a lot to discuss. Why it's important for us to vote. Why it's important for us to engage and show up on the local, state, and federal level, voting, but also speaking out, because this same chaos we saw in the U.S. House this week, where literally government did not operate, excuse me, it's happening in our school boards, our city and county councils.
Yes.
And the last time this happened, and we got to remember, we are still the world's superpower.
Yep.
So even our inaction impacts others.
Well,
the last time something like this happened, we ended up with Hitler. Go ahead, Ebony.
I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. I think I have a little lag right now. But I don't know how true this is, but the last time something similar like this happened in the U.S., Civil War actually broke out. So speaking of Republicans and chaos, they love chaos. They want it. We actually see a result of that with January the 6th anniversary 2 years ago. Actually was just yesterday. And we saw it live, the type of chaos. They were able to rally up a couple of tens of thousands of people to basically stop the justice system, to causing chaos. People were killed. That shows the magnitude of how chaotic these people can get. It wasn't just some people rioting. This was over 20,000 people in one location trying to stop democracy.
And I know we have to move on, but let me say this one thing before we go. And I know I'm going to rattle a little bit of feathers when I say this, but guess what? I don't care. The Democratic Party does not own the black vote. The Democratic Party does not own the black vote. So when you have individuals coming on nationally televised news stations saying things like, you ain't black if you don't vote for me, that lets you know that they feel that they're already going to win on our behalf. Why is that? Well, because we vote for them blindly without holding them accountable. We ain't ride with Joe Biden like that. We messed with Obama. He rode in on the coattails, if we being honest. And he won this last time because he was the lesser of two evils. Now, he's in there right now. He's our president. We all support him. But he's in there strictly on the strength of the black vote, more specifically the black female vote, right? And we see that he did put a black female in on the Supreme Court. And we appreciate that. But that's a symbolic victory. What are the real things he's doing? Where are the policies? What is he doing to move the black agenda forward? Nothing. Because we're not holding him accountable by and large. When we vote for these individuals, whether they be Republican, whether they be Democrat, whether they be independent, the rent too damn high party, I don't care who you vote for, just vote. And when you vote for them, when they're elected, hold them accountable to do what they said they would do to get your vote.
You giving us topics for future shows. Because my question is, what is the black agenda? We got to come to that first. Then two, the rent is too damn high party. That man was right. People laughed at him when he ran for mayor of New York. And God rest his soul, because he's passed since then. But that man was telling us, and across the nation, the rent too damn high. Y'all, he was talking about it then, and people laughed at him and thought he was just a joke, but it got attention, and people didn't pay attention to it. You've given us a lot of topics for future shows. We do need to talk about the black agenda, because there isn't one right now. And we're not a monolith, as you said. So that's a future generation, future episode discussion, definitely. And if you guys have any thoughts about it, drop it. All right. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Rhoda. And thank you, Marvin, for the congratulations. We really appreciate you guys watching and everything. Deontay, what's next on our list? Speaking of getting engaged and voting, this past Tuesday, December 27th. We hope that the results of the city of Georgetown election were what you wanted, but that actually speaks at a time when we were celebrating family and friends and holidays, that folks got out and voted, and folks got out, different organizations came together and worked to have this election outcome. So any thoughts regarding that, Ebony?
Well, Tamika Obeng, who, from what it looked like, no, this is what we do know. Let me just come at it in that direction. She won. And I think that it surprised she's on the Democratic Party, and I think that it did surprise the other party, the Republicans. Congratulations to her. She is now, not now. I think it's going to be on the 19th that they will actually install Tamika Obeng into that role. Congratulations to her again. If that's what you wanted, that's what you got. I'm glad that everyone went out to vote. And what I will say is that election, that runoff election, was it was different. It was 2 days after Christmas. So if you didn't vote early, we had some bad weather. It was cold. It created some challenges during the holiday. So that's what I have to say on it.
All right. Thank you, Ebony. Deontay.
Congratulations, Tamika. She was, her and her people were on the ground. The people were able to see her. So she did a pretty good job on that behalf. She was visible, which is more than we can say for a lot of candidates. Now, the fact that this election happened right after Christmas, that's not a coincidence.
Mm-mm.
That happened because the Republican Party that's in charge here in Georgetown believed that that gave them the best advantage to win because they thought that individuals who would primarily vote Democrat would not be interested in voting at that time. Surprise, surprise. Y'all lost anyway. Because all of these organizations got together, we mobilized, we put people on the ground to get these votes out. So that should tell you that all of these games that you're playing, they ain't gonna work. So come to the table and actually do the right thing by the people, or guess what? You can be voted out as well.
Well, here's the thing. What I'll say is this whole election, the runoff election for Georgetown City Council was sort of iffy from the very get-go. We get this surprise news that Al Joseph, who was formerly on city council, has resigned and has taken on another role, which kind of leads you to think, well, gosh, nobody, it just kind of seemed well planned out, well thought out, way ahead of time for that to happen in the first beginning. Then to have the runoff election right after Christmas was very awkward as well. So I feel like that was something that was more so orchestrated by the city council, which at this point is majority Republican. And what really gets me about the city council is that I need people to really be educated about how they perceive things and go about things, because they like to say this thing, well, it was under this person's administration. It was under the Republican administration. It was under the Democratic Party administration. When it comes down to city council, it's really not supposed to work that way anyway, but we still go about referring it as to a Republican or a Democratic Party administration when they're all supposed to be working together to help serve the needs of the people. When at the end of the day, what I have seen so far, if you want to call it a Republican administration over the Georgetown City Council, it seems like they're not really gearing up to serve the people. They're gearing up so that they can serve the developers. They're gearing up to be self-serving. And there's not really much I have seen that they have done on paper, or actually in what I have seen and witnessed that is really for the goodwill of the people. And I'll leave it there.
Listen, we should all be motivated to get out and vote in these local elections because we have an administration in power in the city of Georgetown that cares nothing about us. They care about themselves. They care about their own agenda to bring these big organizations and to gentrify basically the west end of Georgetown. So if that's not something that you want to happen, it's in your best interest to make sure that you vote in these local elections and get everyone else that you can get to do the same.
I want people to understand when we talk about we don't want things to be gentrified, because traditionally, historically, gentrification has been about moving people of color, Black people, and low-income people out, and then bringing amenities. We still want the amenities. What we want is people to be treated with dignity and as human beings and deserving of the amenities that they have earned by paying taxes to the government. And that has not happened historically in Georgetown. The West End does need improvement. There isn't anyone on the West End that doesn't want certain amenities, but they shouldn't get them based on the fact that they have to be forced to move or pay higher taxes. And this, we are all smart enough across all political lines, across all differences, to figure out solutions that benefit the majority of the people, not just the few that have some money or the inside behind the closed doors track to elected officials.
Well, and that's true, Marilyn. And I know that you're going to bring this topic up, and I know we're going to segue into it. But I can't help but bring up the fact that that's why the courts have decided that the lawsuit was won by the NAACP, proving that they really are gentrifying areas based on district lines.
Who is they? We got to put a name to who is they.
We're the party that's in control in South Carolina right
Mm-hmm.
now, that has a
Mm-hmm.
supermajority in the legislature, that controls all statewide offices, and most of the counties is the Republican Party. And this has been for the last 20 years. So anything that's harmful, that's not moving right now, state down, it could be laid at the feet of one party. It could be laid at the feet of one party because they running everything. Um, and if you want to see change, you're gonna have to come out and fight for that change. You're gonna have to get registered to vote, and you're gonna have to become an engaged citizen. It's That's just where it is right now. So I mean, I agree with everything Ebony is saying, and I know. Go ahead, Deontay, and then we'll go talk about what Ebony already is segueing into.
No, I have no more thoughts. I mean, it just shows the power of our vote, that one party would work so hard and so diligently to make sure that we can exercise that right. So an individual who would believe that my vote doesn't count, well, it must count if a party is trying so hard to take that away from you and to make sure that it's not easily accessible, or it's more difficult for you to vote than others.
Facts.
I was trying to pull up a video of Hakeem Jeffries last night, gave his speech in acceptance to being the minority leader of the House. And he had the alphabet. He alphabetically went through, and I mean, it was a beautiful speech. It really was. And I'm trying to find it so we could play it at the end of the show.
I don't know, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Miss Manley, but to the viewers who don't know who Hakeem Jeffries is, just go on YouTube and type his name in, and watch some of the responses that he's made on the floor. This man is so articulate, and his views are so dynamic. Just listen to him, and you will know why he was rightfully elected.
That's right. I am very happy with the Democratic leadership in that House right now. I'm not, as you say, I'm not always happy with the Democrats. That's why we're part of a nonpartisan group, because we hold everybody accountable. Mm-hmm. And you can ask some local Democrats. They get mad at us because we hold them accountable too. So and all that's the way up. So that's the power of the NAACP being nonpartisan. We call you all out if you're not doing right by the people. But let's go to Congressional District 1, which is next door to us. Charleston and Berkeley and Dorchester and Colleton and so on. That this week, the court, the state court ruled that they deliberately gerrymandered South Carolina Congressional District 1 on racial lines to ensure that a Republican would get elected. So Nancy Mace may be representing for the next 2 years, but they are now being forced to redraw the lines, and they knew it when they did it. And going back again to a majority Republican House and state Senate that drew these lines and approved them, it went to court. The South Carolina NAACP was the lead organization taking them to court. And it was very deliberate that they delayed this until after the election.
Yep.
Because even though she should be removed or stepped down and said, let's do a special election and redo this, that's not going to happen. They know it's not going to happen. So we got Nancy Mace for 2 years, but they definitely have to redraw those lines so that they are more equitable and giving more opportunity for better representation. That's another way of doing voter suppression, when you gerrymander these district lines to prevent folks having true representation. Go ahead.
That's true. You know, so first of all, congratulations to the NAACP, the state NAACP, who was the lead on it. Georgetown, very instrumental in the foundation of getting things rolling over there in that area. So congratulations to them. But what's something really, I wonder um, if they could even have a lawsuit on top of the lawsuit for not having another election. Somebody else lost after spending a lot of time, money, energy, lots of money that goes into these campaigns. They lost because someone else's wrongdoing. The election could have came out something really different, and that's one thing that really gets me sometimes about these type of situations is that, you know, on common everyday individuals, they're so very harsh rules, but somebody else can do something, violate it, break the law, and you really don't see. It's like, oh, okay, well, we'll just move on from here. I really don't want to see us move on from here. They really need to go forth with trying to push that they do another election.
Deonta, any thoughts? You're muted. We still recovering from the holiday hijinks, folks. So forgive us. You need to find that unmute button.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
My apologies. I was trying to find the photo and put it up here in time, but we'll get to that later. Mr. Neal and I were actually at the closing of that trial there in Charleston, and it was such a powerful event just to be in the building and be a part of that history. Because if they'll do it once, they'll do it again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have to strike this down every time an attempt like this is made, because this is how one party controls every aspect of government if we allow it to happen. So people talk badly about the NAACP. They say we always sticking our nose and everything, but there's a reason we're involved in so many different aspects of government. Because if we were not involved in this right now in Charleston, there would not be a change, and the courts would not have honored what was most certainly malfeasance, if not illegal activity, that was done in drawing out those maps in those districts.
Thank you, Deonta. You are so correct. You are right. And this is why we keep the battle going, not only for redistricting and getting out the vote, but other topics. I'm going to segue into the next topic. In whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, and that those terms are debatable also. This week, the South Carolina Supreme Court handed down a decision with far-reaching consequences. They banned the South Carolina ban of they threw out, excuse me, the South Carolina ban of the 6-week abortion, and that was actually a good thing, because this is about controlling bodies and suppressing the voices of women. There's a bigger picture to this. So it was actually quite shocking in South Carolina, but it was a woman, Supreme Court Justice, who wrote the decision. It is very clear. It is well articulated. And talking about consequences of elections, they are already coming after her. Unfortunately, she is retiring next year, which means the seat opens. And they are already saying they're going to replace her with a conservative, which is problematic in and of itself, because courts are supposed to be neutral. But if you're a one-party state, they're going to do what they want to do. And this is why it's important that we get engaged and lift all voices. And I lift many voices that I don't agree with all the time. And I, just for personal sake, I am pro-choice. But I recognize this was a good thing, because it's not the intention of helping children. It's the intention of suppressing women and keeping us in our place. And we need to really understand that, folks, and vote based on information and not misinformation. Go ahead, Ebony.
Oh no, I'm pro-choice. pro-choice because not just because of my own spiritual beliefs. I can't impress my own spiritual beliefs on others. That's just point blank. You have to know within yourself whether or not what you want to do as far a woman with her body. I think that the choice should lie between a woman and her doctor in privacy, and that government has no place in our beds, in our private lives. Is they're already in it enough. So I'm glad that it was thrown out. But it also leads to another topic that I think that we should talk about later, which is all the money that they had dumped into the healthcare system to actually reduce Black people from having babies. They dumped a lot of money into the community to support birth control, and it worked. But not only did it slow down births in the Black community, it also for a very long time slowed down births for white women as well. And this is something that has happened nationwide, and not only nationwide, but other countries have had birth control on their top priority of things in their country. So globally, we're our economy is suffering from the lack of not having enough babies manufacturing. We're not birthing enough babies to keep up with the global economy. And at the end of the day, they're using women to keep up with the Joneses. They're using women to keep up with the amount of money that they make. And in order to continue to make the same amount of money that they had been making, more babies have to be made. They have to be produced. So then we need to really sit down and talk about how does our economy in our nation and globally look in the next 20 years if more people don't have babies. It's a money thing. It's all
And you
money.
guys keep giving us topics for the next year. That's a whole topic for a whole show right there, Ebony. So I hope we make a note of this. We need to come back and watch this show because we keep generating topics for other shows also that we really do need to have a deep discussion about, not only as individuals but as a community, so people get informed and this is key. America was founded not in many ways, not in the best way and not representative of everyone, but on paper, the First Amendment, the right to assemble peaceably, the freedom of speech, these freedoms in the First Amendment is a reason why they're in the First Amendment. So we can have these discussions without fear that someone's going to come and jail us or kill us, etc. We've not always lived up to that, but that's what it's about. It's about getting information and having the freedom to make your own decisions and then act upon it. And we need to have these discussions, Ebony. I'm glad you mentioned that. Go ahead, Deontay, because you look like you want to share.
Man, I'm not pro-choice. I'm pro-minding my business. If it ain't my woman, it ain't my business. Point blank. So why are these folk trying to dictate what somebody else is doing with their bodies? And I think a lot of times we focus on the politics and we get all upset, but we lose focus that people are affected. And let me bring this home. And I'm not gonna give any information, no identifying nothing. But I know a young lady who got pregnant, and her doctor told her that if she carried on and went on to deliver this baby, there is a great chance, I believe the number was 85%, that she would lose her life. Now, because of the politics being played in our country, this young lady's life is still at risk right now. She was unable to terminate what is a dangerous pregnancy because of these games being played. No matter how many doctors she went around to, no one could perform this procedure that she needed, right? And we think of abortion as, oh, someone was irresponsible, they just didn't want a child, this, that, and the third, they were monogamous, all of this. This young lady is married, has children already, and would want this child if it had not been for the risk to her own health. Why is her life at risk right now? I'm truly upset. Why is her life at risk right now? Because others want to play games, play political games with her life.
And not only her life, which is very important. We pray that she survives this because it's the children she has now.
Yes.
Right.
Their life too.
Yep.
They need a mama.
Yes.
They need a mama.
Yep.
They need a mama and a daddy. You know, daddy's in the picture, but he needs a partner.
Yep.
And through, you're right, Deontay, people not minding their own business. Just you do not know the walk that people walk. And it's about free will. We talk about that in a biblical sense. Well, y'all need to be real about it. We use religion so much to control people. We really not using religion, and he said it's free will. It's about
now, Maryland, it's really weird about the foundations. I want to get back to the foundations of our country and what you just started. I love that. And it's weird because me and someone else had another conversation about the same thing. Supposedly, at least this is what we were taught in school, is that the founders, the so-called founders of this country moved here so that they could have freedom of choice, so that they could serve spiritually or religiously whoever they wanted to. And from my understanding, these forefathers, some of them were actually gay. And I know that we're talking about women, but then it's really baffling to me that when you fast forward from the founders, there was a certain point in time, and that's what happened and changed the scope of our country. And it was slavery, enslaving people. And part of the control tactic that they used for controlling the enslaved people was religion, which has nothing to do with the foundation of the country. That's why the country supposedly was developed, because people could come here and serve who they want, be with who they want. So long as they were doing it peacefully, it shouldn't be a problem. But when you start using Christianity as a means of control, and to control the people's mind, and also to control really the things that they want to do, then it becomes really a big issue, which, moving fast forward, why we have just come to terms with giving rights to people in the LGBTQ plus community is over my head. The foundation of this country said that it was okay. And then to keep women suppressed is a whole nother thing. But, and I know that I'm rambling on just a little bit, but I get confused sometimes about this country, because one minute they're spiritual and the next minute it's okay to kill and riot. The next minute one thing's okay, but then it's not. So what are we teaching our kids? I don't know, because at this point I'm confused about it all. But I do know that a lot of decisions in this country, they're not moral ones.
I think, Ebony, you have some great thoughts. This country has been a contradiction from day one. And one of the main reasons you already cited. Professor Eddie Gould of Princeton, there's a video of him, and he said, America's original sin was not slavery, and it's not the genocide of Native Americans. Its original sin was when white people decided that they were better than others based on their skin color. And the consequences of that was the genocide of Native Americans, was the enslavement of other humans. We don't want to talk about that. We got the anti-CRT and all of that, because that's all about freedom of suppressing everybody else's voice, the voice of the others, because I want to live in this bubble that America truly never was. And I just bring that up because when we peel back the layers, we understand how complicated this country is. But in its complexity, those founding fathers, and not the white alabaster stone statues that we've been taught about, but the flawed human beings, it gave us a beautiful constitution with amendments. And amendments mean it can be amended, which means it's an organic document. They were brilliant enough to realize that we are not perfect. We want to form a more perfect union. Form means living, that we will constantly be working on this Constitution to achieve this American dream. And I think once we realize that and realize it's not a perfect document, but we're constantly working to make it this ideal, we're always going to be contradictory. But even in the contradiction, there's great beauty, there's great opportunity. But with that, as individuals, we have to make decisions. Is this what we really want? And we have to constantly work at it, knowing that we're not going to achieve everything we want in our generation, but we're going to achieve steps to move closer to that American ideal. And then next generations will come and they will move closer to that American ideal. What we do know is we've got to leave clean water. We've got to leave healthy land, because that's what feeds and nurtures us. What we do know is we have to leave free speech, because I may not agree with you, but I respect you as a human being. And that's what makes America great. So, yeah, it is confusing.
There you go.
Because we are inherently contradictory, because we are always working to achieve the ideal. And at this point in our generation, recognize we are not going to be there 100%, but we need to move closer to it. What's happening now should be happening because lessons are being learned. Go ahead, Deontay.
And I just got one quick statement, and you made so many profound comments just now. But I think what a lot of people look at as fighting, I look at differently. When I see conflict, I see resolution, because absent of conflict, there is no growth. If everybody agreed on every situation, how would we ever move forward as a people? There has to be somebody forward thinking. There has to be somebody who thinks that things can be done another way. Now, once there is conflict, how do we handle that conflict as individuals, as humans? Well, like you said, as long as we do so respectfully, then it's all good. But let's get out of the thinking that if individuals disagree, that it's always a bad thing, or that we shouldn't always be having these back and forth talks and things of that nature. We have to have conflict in order to move our society forward. And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Deontay. Did we hit all our topics today? Was that our last one?
Well, we got to tell these people about this upcoming event.
Oh, yes. All right, you and Abby, don't leave yet. I know you got to go. Let me pull it up. Go ahead. You two guys start talking. I'm going to pull it up.
Well, we are having on January 28th, doors opening at 6 p.m., our annual banquet. But we're doing a little different this year. What we're doing is a theme that's very similar to an award show, whether it be the Grammys, the Emmys, whatever you can think of. It's going to be very similar to that type of format, where we will have individuals being awarded. We will have entertainment in the middle of the awards presentations, and we will have a red carpet, people. We will have a red carpet for y'all to walk on to start this event, taking pictures and whatever else you want to do. This is like nothing you've ever seen in our community, and I'm telling you, you do not want to miss it. So if you don't know, now you know.
Yep.
January 28th, 6 o'clock, you want to be there.
Hey, if y'all need tickets, please call me. Come by my office. I got tickets. Go ahead and purchase yours so that you can come. We are going to have such a good time.
Oh yeah, and we partying afterwards too, y'all. After
After
parties hosted by DJ Rock. We gonna have light hors d'oeuvres. We gonna have champagne, and we gonna turn up. So all of the the old church folk that don't like to have a good time in front of folk, y'all might want to go home afterwards.
But buy your tickets first.
Get them tickets. But
Get them tickets. We all got tickets. So I put a number up. Y'all can call us directly or call this number here. And because once somebody gets rid of their tickets, there's going to be somebody else out here selling tickets. So y'all call the number 843-790-4075 and get your tickets. Get your tickets before
there's
they are
individuals
all gone.
throughout the county who have these tickets. So call that number and we'll get you to the right person in your community that can get you the tickets more quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited about it. And it's going to be different, but different is good.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we need to shake it up sometimes. But y'all, this is a major fundraiser for us. So come on out. And we're going to be recognizing folks with awards, you know, recognizing your friends, families, and neighbors. And I know y'all want to support them. And to do that, you got to get your ticket. So
get the
dress
ticket.
to impress when you come.
This one is going to be so important, y'all. We haven't had an event in 3 years because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we are happy. We are excited about bringing 2023 in with such positivity and a bang with this Spotlight Awards, red carpet. I look forward to seeing you there and tell other people about it. If you get one ticket, you got to get two because you're going to have to bring somebody.
Spread the word, man. Tell your mama, tell your granny, tell your auntie, them, tell everybody. This is the event to go to.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. I'm looking forward to y'all. Reach out, buy your tickets. Let me put that number up one more time. Or if you can't contact us directly, call this number and we will definitely get you your tickets. All right, let's make this happen. And you know, be there and bring a guest, not just a ticket for yourself. Bring your ticket for a guest also. Everybody, thank you. I do want to I forgot what I was going to wrap up with y'all, but I guess that's it then. There you go. Go ahead, Ebony. Go ahead and put that up.
Put what out? What happened?
Right there. There you go. I don't know. Maybe Deontay did that. Did you just put that comment up?
It was.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to President Marvin. Shout out to President Marvin Henry, Marion Branch, NAACP.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to new leadership, continuing working with Ebony and Deontay. I'm still around, folks. I'm not vice president anymore, but I am chair of the environmental committee and co-chair of economic development. So I'm still here supporting, working, and etc. And my house. You see, Ebony, you missed the conversation before the show. For the last 3 weeks, I've been renovating my house.
Nice.
Yeah,
See
got
the new
a baby, grandkids, and everything.
I was telling Deontay, if you do a little bit every day, much can be accomplished.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Happy New Year, Ebony.
Happy
New Year, Deontay. As always, Happy New Year to our viewing audience. Go out, get engaged, get educated, motivated, and activated. We welcome you to all of our public meetings. And we welcome you at city, county council meetings, and school board meetings and beyond. Get engaged, folks. It really does make a difference.
We're going to go back to our quarterly meetings in the community, given the situation with COVID. So wherever you are, look for us to be in your community so that you can speak to us, let us know what's going on, what we need to address. But other than that, we appreciate you. Thank you for viewing. We'll see you next week. We love you all. Continue to love yourselves.
Peace out. See you later, guys.